Alright guys, 2016 Honda CRV. I'm doing piston rings. This one has the Earth Dream engine and it's pretty cold outside, 0 degrees Celsius. I had to scrape the ice off the windshield and stuff, you know. And you can see my breath. So it's a cold morning, and I'm gonna bring this in so I can start this piston ring job. Or actually, I'm replacing pistons and piston rings because CRVs you replace the pistons as well. So let me bring this inside the shop and yeah, get started on this. All right, car's in the shop. Gonna start by draining the coolant and draining the oil. I said I was gonna work on the far end of the shop, but that guy is coming back from vacation this week, so I can't use his bay. So I'm working on the bay across from me on the other side over there. So yeah, because the apprentices are going back to school, so I can use this hoist for the next month. While that is draining, coolant's draining, oil's draining, what I need to do is I got to remove the exhaust because I got to remove this oil pan. These oil pans are a little tricky to remove on the K motors because there's a balance shaft. I can't remember if the Earth Dream has it in here, but you can get it out. The shop manual tells you to you got to drop the subframe to get the oil pan off, but you can sneak it out just by lowering the subframe just a little bit and sneaking the oil pan past it. And yeah, it should be pretty simple. I think the shop manual says it calls for 3.5 hours just to remove the oil pan or something like that. Time to take off the dreaded crank bolt. So I got a regular socket, full charge. Does not come out. All right, now I'm going to use the weighted socket, right? And if that doesn't come out, I got to use the big ugga dugga gun to get that crank bolt out. Usually this one will get it out, and if it doesn't, and it does, so it came out, so I don't have to use the big gun. Alright, so I took all the oil pan bolts off just to show you in case you you know, somebody or your lube guy or quick lube guy strip out the threads out of your oil pan, and then what you're looking at to replace this oil pan. Actually, it's not too bad. You got to remove the exhaust, right? That goes across here. You got to unbolt the AC compressor, right? And there's a mount here, and then you just remove all those bolts. There's a spot for you where you can pry down on, so you just stick a pry bar and then just pop it off, right? There's other places that you can do it, which is like right here or right here. There's corners where you can pop them off. There's one there, so I'll just pick the oil pan off, and yeah, that should be it for the oil pan part. So I like to take the everything underneath first off. Remove everything, drain everything, start from the bottom, and then move my way up. So the oil pan came out just fine. You don't have to drop the subframe. I guess that's for the older CRVs. So yeah, it'll come out easy. And that's what the inside of the oil pan looked like. While this thing is still dripping, we're going to start taking the timing cover off because we've got to take the chain off, and the chain goes up behind the timing cover to remove this balance shaft. So we're going to go up top, start taking everything up top, timing cover, everything. And yeah, then once we have the cylinder head off, then I'll take the this balance shaft out, and then we can start taking the windage tray off and unbolting the pistons. All right, so quick update. What I've removed so far is like the intake, the battery, the PCM. I remove all this stuff out of the way because there is these coolant pipes that go into the head, and you gotta get to those bolts there. So that had to remove. Remove the exhaust. Not too hard. Once you get the bottom off, it's just held in by that one bolt down there, and then just remove the the heat shield, the O2 sensor, and then you can remove the four bolts that hold the exhaust manifold or catalytic converter to the head. That comes off easy. The only thing you're going to probably be struggling is with the BTC solenoid that goes through the timing cover. It's always a fight trying to get them out. Yeah, but just have to be careful not to break the plastic connector. And then the other thing is I'm going to have to remove the intake manifold. Yeah, see how that's going to go. And you also have to remove the high pressure fuel pump because this cover, there are 2 head bolts that are underneath it, and you got to get access to it. So this has to come off. It's just silicone, so you got to re-silicone it after. I'm gonna take the valve cover off, take the intake manifold off, and yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, no, that's not too bad. One thing you probably want to know on these K motors, you need to know what piston you need, because there'll be a little label saying A, B, or yeah, A or B piston. So you gotta order corresponding to the cylinders that is labeled side, so you can't see. So what we do is we order 4 A's and 4 B pistons for this motor. And if you have regular K series, it's usually just like right here, and you can just look down with light, and it'll be like A, B, you know, corresponding to which cylinder on the head. So if you don't know what kind of pistons you have, then yeah, just there's a little corner where you can check that and see which piston you need for which cylinder. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna just remove everything else. All right, so what I've done so far, I took the intake manifold out. To get it out, it's a pretty tight squeeze. So, but it does come out. Try to make as much room as you can. These lines, just push it out of the way. Removed a little clip that holds the you know, heater core lines in. Yeah, and then just pull it out this way, and it should just come out. But it is a little bit tight. Other than that, fought with the VTC solenoid down there for like 15 minutes trying to get it out, but it did finally come out. All right, so timing cover is off. The only thing with the timing cover is two sizes, 10 mil, 12 mil. They're this one and that hole. The 10 mil has a raised shank, kind of like a dowel kind of thing on the bolt to center it. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. Rotated the engine backwards slightly so I can put the pin in, and then so I can lock the tensioner in. Also, same thing with the balance shaft, the chain for the balance shaft tensioner. Also put a pin in that, so I can go ahead and take these chains off, take the balance shaft off, take the cylinder head off, and then yeah, I can pop the pistons out. All right, so before I take off the whole rocker assembly, so if you don't have the brackets to hold yeah, sorry for the noise, but if you don't have the brackets to hold the rockers together, you can also zip tie them, because if you allow those pistons to pop out, right, yeah, you're gonna have a bit of a trouble, you know, a bad day trying to find those springs and pistons once they fly out of there. So yeah, grab yourself some zip ties and just tie them all together so they don't fall out. So yeah, that's what I'm just doing right now. Then I'm just going to remove the whole rocker assembly. That way I can get access to the head bolts. Yeah, the head bolts are right there, right underneath there. So that the rocker assembly comes out with the bottom part of the what do you call it? The cam cradle, I guess you can call it. Maybe I should have started recording when I was cracking the head bolts loose. Yeah, I don't know. Hope that stays. I usually do a little bit at a time, evenly all the way, then go back. Alright, so they're all loose. And yeah, I'll get the rest of the head studs out. battery's dying. Red. Gotta get a new battery. Two more bolts. Just 2 more bolts. It'll make it. You can do it. All right, last one. So this is something I wanted to show you. If you're unsure of what piston you need for this engine, first of all, you need to take the cylinder head off, and you need to know if you need an A piston or a B piston, and here it is. So I need 4 A's. So if you don't know, just order 4 A's and 4 B's, and then just return whichever ones you need. So I need A pistons for all 4 of these. So yeah, it's hiding underneath the head gasket or the cylinder head, so you can't really see it until you remove it. But on the yeah, I think yeah, same thing with the other K motor. So yeah, that's what these letters here on the short block are for. It's for whichever, if you're replacing the pistons, that's what you're going to be putting in. So they're A pistons, all 4 of them. So sometimes it'll be like AB, BB, or ABB, or you know, whatever. You just replace it with whatever you got to order them with. So now I got to replace. I'm going to start removing the balance shaft and start cracking those connecting rod bolts off, and then we're going to pop these pistons out. And let me show you these pistons, or I mean the piston rings. All right, guys. So this Goodwill job has gotten bad to worse, and let me show you the connecting rod bearings. You can see copper in them. That's number 1. Here's number 2. That looks pretty bad. And number 3. Oh, get in the light. Surprisingly, there was no noise. No noise. That's number 4. Yep. So now we got a request for more parts and see if Honda can cover the rest of the remaining parts that we need for this car. Now that I'm waiting for this car for additional approval from Goodwill, yeah, so 2 dead cars. And then we're going to use a 3rd bay. We only have one free bay left. Actually, we kicked one of the apprentices upstairs to so I can use that hoist for now. But yeah, that's how it is as a flat rate tech at a dealership. You just work on something, and then you go on another one, and then you just keep going, right? So that's a flat rate tech at a dealership for you. Right, short block is here. I just got to get it out of this cage. I get some help, but I also got more parts, additional parts for the CRV. Right, so I popped off everything. I popped off the starter. Right, disconnect all the harnesses on this side. I still got 1 bolt there for the dry shaft. I'm gonna leave it till the end to take it off because I think it's on the subframe right now. So other than that, the other side, I can start zipping off the what do you call it? The bell housing bolts. I got this engine mount here. I'm gonna leave this thing on here and take it out all at the same time and actually transfer it over once I get it out. So I think we're pretty close to pulling this short block out of the car. All right, so mounts off. I just flopped it over. Right, just loosened the bolt there. The only thing left is that 1 bolt right there, and then gonna see if I can wiggle it out that way and then come out that way. Just like that, it's out. With a couple help with these guys over here. Can't show you their faces though. All right, ain't that pretty? Here's the short block. Looks pretty complete. It gives you an oil pan. They already put the balance shaft in and everything. I'm not sure if they siliconed it. I don't know. I'll take a look because I might have to take that pan off and then silicone it with the timing cover. So I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, transfer the parts off that one over to this one. New short block is in. You can see it's all nice and shiny. And yeah, unfortunately, they didn't order me these O-rings for this port and this port. And my shop foreman is kind of peeved because he did tell him to order these guys. And yeah, I had to go pick it out at the parts list on the computer for him. But other than that, I'm going to do as much as I can to get this all back together. I have to put a couple more of these bell housing bolts for the block because they're just sitting on my bench. I only put 2 on here to hold it in place. Got this engine mount on, got that CV axle bolted on, and what else did I do? I put the crank sensor on. That's about it. Other than that, I got this O-ring to go. Yeah, new O-rings. I'm gonna see how much of this I can get done. And yeah, that should be it. And yeah, maybe at the end of the video, if you want to check it out, I'm gonna pop those pistons out of the old block before I send it out for warranty. Anyways, see you guys again in another time, or soon. See you soon. I don't know. Alright, so I did a little bit of cleaning on the cylinder head here, but there was a ton of carbon on the cylinder head, especially in like this area. Right? They were like big piece of chunks, like that, you know, big piece of chunks, and I, you know, scraped it off. You still kind of see a little bit there, right there. But oh, even here, look, check this out. That's a very thick. There's a, I don't know, here, get you some light there, right there. It's like those were the big chunks. Oh yeah, I got that off. Yeah, other than that, it's ready to go onto the block. All right, so I put the head bolts in, and I got new head bolts. Right, so they want me to torque it to 30 foot-pounds, first step, and then if you're using or reusing head bolts, you do 90 degrees and then a 90 degrees. But if you're using new head bolts, you're doing 90 degrees, and then another 90 degrees. So yeah, so 90 degrees 3 times. That's gonna be pretty tight. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I did 90, 90, 90. So, you know, you see, I marked them all before I started torquing them. So 90, right, 90, and then 90. But those are super tight. I think on the torque wrench it said it was about like 100 foot-pounds on those head bolts. Well, the final 90 was about 100 foot-pounds. All right, so I dropped the rocker assembly down. So I did that first because I had to silicone this plate, right, to prevent it from leaking. So what I did was I took a couple of the cam caps, right, and then I just torqued it down to spec, and then yeah, took them back off. That way the plate actually will sit against the dowel, or I guess set in the dowels for these plates. There's a couple dowels on each corner, so that way the silicone can dry and seal. And then I gotta silicone this part on top because there's another plate that goes on top for the high pressure fuel pump. Also, I just cut off all the zip ties that hold the VTEC rocker arms, right? So yeah, other than that, I'm still waiting for parts. I need that VTC actuator because where did it go? As you can see, like the Accord, right? Like the Accord, the chain's worn into the teeth on the intake and the exhaust gear. So that's what I'm waiting for still. Oh no, my brake clean. Yeah, this is my like cleaning station for all the silicone. So here's the sketchy part. I'm replacing all the gaskets and the you know, crank seal and everything, but these gaskets, they don't stay in place, especially when you're about to seal them up. See like just doesn't stay. So I'm gonna put a little bit of silicone to hold those in place so they don't fall out when I pop the timing cover on. All right, so quick update. Put a lot of the engine back together. I didn't film much of it, but you know what I did. So I put the timing cover on, I put the chain, timed it, rotated twice around, all the marks lined up again, and then yeah, silicone that. There's 2 layers. There's like silicone for the bottom part of the rocker, I guess the rocker arm assembly, and then another cover for the high pressure fuel pump. So you got to silicone that, and then yeah, so everything is, you know, all this is all put back together. I found it easier to put the intake manifold in without the valve cover, so I just stick it in here rather than slide it in that way. So yeah, put the fuel and everything, exhaust, a bunch of connectors left. I gotta put the bell housing bolts back in. What else? I got AC compressor, and I think we're pretty much done. Put the belt in. and then fill it up with coolant, fill it up with oil, and then I think we should be good. So once I finish all this, I'll see if I can pop those pistons out of the old short block, and then I'll take a look at them. All right, so I'm filling the oil filter up with oil. Don't worry, this is not gear oil. I just use this bottle to fill. I use this bottle to put motor oil in it, so I can use this cap, and I just squirt oil on like the bearings and stuff, or on the rockers or whatever needs lubricating, like the guides or the chains and stuff, and just like, you know, tiny little hole, just a little squirt on a little bit of everything. Works great. And then yeah, just topping up the oil filter with oil. All right, so some of you are going to be wondering, hey, how much did this job or this warranty job pay? So here it is. Originally it was the pistons and piston rings for this, because this thing was burning oil. So that job under warranty pays 16 hours. I think a little bit more than 16 hours, 16 and a half maybe. But since after taking it all apart and found out that, you know, the bearings are all shot, and since it wore it enough that the color is gone, so we can't order the correct bearings to replace it with, and plus I wouldn't trust the main bearings on the crank if the connecting rod bearings look like that. So yeah, we ended up ordering a short block. So instead of getting 16 hours for the piston rings, short block pays 11 hours, so lost 5 hours on warranty work. Alright guys, so as promised, I popped out 2 of the pistons. Let me show you what low tension piston rings look like. They're super thin, right? Here's the other one. I pulled this one. This is the secondary compression ring. The primary one's a little thicker, right? But let me see if I can compare it with something. Maybe like a piece of paper. I guess maybe it's like, it could be two-ply toilet paper or something, you know, the thickness of it for these compression rings. But as you can see, the oil control rings are all completely stuck. Yeah, same with this guy. I feel like they started the low tension piston rings in 2011 on the K series motor, and then, you know, this is the Earth Dream K motor. Yeah, I feel like that's when they start burning oil. But everything from like 2007 up to 2010, it seemed they don't burn any oil. So I don't know. I guess you know, less resistance, better fuel economy. I don't know about more power, but you know, with 0W20. Oh, if you ever watched Roadkill, they have like a series on Engine Masters or something, and they were doing like, does the viscosity of oil create more power? And apparently the thicker oil created more power, because they were saying it's the thicker oil has less blow by or something, and it made more power. So I don't know. Roadkill was a good show. I don't know if they still do it anymore. I think it's a paid subscription or something now. But you know, one of the good shows that were used to be on YouTube, I guess. Anyways, we'll come back tomorrow morning. I'll put oil in the car, and then we'll start it up. Alright guys, it is the next morning. So I'm going to pump some oil on this thing, and then I'm going to crank it over. This thing, you know, when you do your oil changes, I think it's 4.7 liters. So I'm going to put about 5.4 because it's completely empty on the bottom. And we should be at the top of the dipstick after we start her up. Alright, it's all filled up. We should be somewhere at the top of the dipstick. Stick it in the hole. There we go. Alright, here we go. First start, I'm gonna press on the brake pedal and hold down the gas pedal for let the crank. I wonder if this has a clear flood mode. Oh no, it's starting. Oh no, okay, try that again. Oh, the oil light went out.
Alright guys, I figured out what was wrong. I forgot one vacuum line on the intake manifold, so a huge vacuum leak. That's why it ran and then it shut off. But check this out now. Runs good, nice and smooth. I'm just gonna, well, first of all, I'm gonna clear all the codes off in there, and then I'm gonna bleed the cooling system. I'm gonna reset the oil life because it's got a new filter and oil in it. Oh, if you're wondering how many kilometers on this, just under 100,000 kilometers. Yeah, 99, 88, 6. So low mileage, probably why it got approved for Goodwill, or covered under Goodwill warranty. So yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Other than that, I still got like a bunch of mess I gotta clean off this bench. I still haven't cleaned off the mess off my my other bench over there because I still got I gotta label all the warranty parts to return. So while this is running, I'll probably do some cleaning on my bench and that bench over there, because right after I finished that Honda Accord, I went to do this car.